I met Audie in Arlington Church. We went to this event called Shindig, and I was there with my cousin.
So Maddie and I met at Arlington at Shindig. We met actually through her cousin Kenya, and she introduced me to Maddie, who had actually moved to Fort Worth and had been attending Arlington for the past couple months.
And Audie happened to be there because he was going to church there.
We started talking about church and God.
We didn't really think much of it. We had like a short, somewhat actually long conversation about God and church.
And I thought, man, here's just another person that's like criticizing what we're doing, that doesn't understand the mission and the goal behind it.
And then Audie ended up adding me on Facebook, which he claims he did because he was some kind of leader for the church, and that's what you're supposed to do.
A couple days later, I think, I added her on Facebook in order to tag her into the YG page and get her plugged in since she was new.
I ended up sending him this article to follow up on what we had been talking about that night, really not thinking anything of it.
And she sent me a message with an article continuing the conversation. I was just like, oh my goodness, please stop. Neither one of us actually thought anything of the day that we met. As we continued to sort of talk and we continued the conversation, we became friends.
And then we just started talking after that because he started asking me questions like, where do you work? And more personal questions. And so then that's when I thought, like, maybe he's trying to be my friend or something else.
As we continued talking, we became friends, and it just developed into this really cool friendship. So our first date, we had been talking for a little bit, and we had become friends. And the more that I got to know her, I realized, like, man, she's really something special.
I didn't really think it was a date because I didn't know that it was.
I asked her, hey, let me take you out to dinner and I can show you around the city and we can hang out.
He asked me to hang out. I thought that it was going to be hanging out with a lot of people. I remember asking him like who all is coming and him being like, oh, it's just you and me. And that's when it kind of hit me, like this is going to be a little bit weird because I wasn't trying to go on a date with him.
I felt like it was pretty clear that this was a date. There was no talk of anybody else coming, ever.
He had a whole night or a whole evening planned. It was very nice, but it was also a little awkward because I didn't really want to go on a date with him.
So that day, when I picked her up, I took her to eat some pizza. She ate like 2 large pizzas by herself.
And I eat a lot of pizza, I still remember that. We ended up going to Dallas to, what's that tower? Some tower in Dallas.
I took her to the Reunion Tower and we were like the only ones up there. Super romantic. And then from there, I took her over to White Rock Lake and we were sitting out on the pier at night with the stars shining, the moon's out. But then there we actually ended up talking for hours. From there we went to...
He took me to the water gardens.
And we made some wishes at the wells.
And I remember specifically sitting somewhere at the water gardens and Audie coming and like sitting really close to me and just feeling like, oh, I hope he doesn't kiss me. Like that's gonna be really awkward.
And then from there, as I was taking her home,
I remember we were eating apples and Audie was like,
I had a really good time with you tonight. Would you like to go on another date with me? And she bit into her apple.
And I didn't know what to say because I felt awful that he had just planned a whole day for me. I remember just biting into this apple while I thought of words to say.
And so I waited, and I continued to wait as she ate her whole apple.
Then I was like, I enjoyed tonight, but no thank you, pretty much. I just thought he would hate me and never, ever, ever talk to me again because I just pretty much told him I didn't want anything with him. So
I realized that a person as cool as Maddie. A friend as valuable as hers is worth keeping around. So we continued to be friends for several more months.
That was it. So we met in October and we actually didn't start dating till March. After our first date, he ended up still talking to me. I pretty much made it really clear I didn't really want a relationship with him. So I thought it was a little bit odd that he would still talk to me, but I thought it was at the same time kind of nice that he was still wanting to be okay with me.
We were in this weird spot where I knew she liked me and she knew I liked her. She was just scared of getting hurt.
We got to a point where he told me again that he really liked me. He kind of knew that I did want to be his girlfriend, but I was scared of a lot of things. He told me one night, he said he was going to ask me to be his girlfriend every day until I said yes. He literally asked me every day.
You know, I prayed about it a lot. I just really wanted God's direction in this. He would give me the patience that I didn't have, and I felt that he was leading me and guiding me with Maddie.
So that's why it took a long time, because we both really wanted to make sure that if we were going to be with each other, we were going to be in the right relationship. He was very patient with me. I think that's another thing that I always appreciated. I was still working nights at that time. We were hanging out and he was like...
I asked her if she would be my girlfriend and she said, I don't know. You know, I think it's going to take time before I'm ready to date anybody. And I told her, you're worth waiting for. It was just like a couple days later that we were hanging out one time.
And I remember him falling asleep because it was like 2 a.m. and I was like wide awake because I work nights. I remember praying about it, like asking God to talk to me and let me know because it was a big decision for me. I remember just like tapping him and like waking him up and being like, I'm gonna be your girlfriend. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah.
And I fell back asleep. I was so tired.
I guess that's how it became official. So we got engaged June 2017.
So I had been in field school, finishing my summer classes, getting ready to graduate for 2 months. This time was difficult because it's the longest that Maddie and I had been apart from each other. While I was in New Mexico, I was getting ready because I knew that everything was coming together. The timing was right. Things were working out to where it was ready for us to finally be able to take the next step and be engaged.
And I wasn't really expecting it that day. I knew we were going to get married soon, but I didn't really know when.
I conspired with Aaron Thomas, and we had developed this plan that was going to be absolutely perfect. The weekend that I finished, I flew Maddie out to New Mexico to meet me in Albuquerque.
And he was kind of persistent about me going to see him his last week there, or the last couple of days there.
Maddie didn't know, but Aaron was coming too. He was going to be arriving the same day.
I didn't really know why, so I hadn't made plans to see him, and all of a sudden he was like, yeah, come see me after all. So that was kind of weird. And he even offered to pay for my airplane ticket at the time, and he wasn't working or making money, so I thought that was really weird too. So then I was like kind of suspicious something might happen, but he did really well about playing it off.
I told her actually the day before, like, hey, Aaron just called me. He told me he's going to be in town. So he asked if I could pick him up since he knows I'm here and if we can hang out for like a day. And Maddie was pressing me with all these questions like, how long is he going to be here? What is he going to be doing? But somehow Maddie bought it.
When I got there, I was expecting things to be planned out. I was expecting him to have like this whole day planned, and we're gonna go to the mountains, and we're gonna do this and this and that. And when I get there, I was like, what's the plan? And he was like, I don't know, we'll just do whatever. And I was like kind of heartbroken because I really thought he was gonna ask me. And I was like, how about we go? And I was kind of like trying to figure things out. So I was like, can we go like to this place? And I figured if I made suggestions and he was like, no, we gotta do this, then it would mean he really did have something planned. But I would make suggestions and be like, yeah, we can do that. And I'd be like, so it really threw me off, and I was like, no, he's really not gonna ask me.
I think Maddie bought into it when she kept on asking me like, so what are we gonna do today? What plans do you have? What are we gonna be doing? I think she was trying to figure out, well, I knew she was trying to figure out when I was gonna propose or if I was gonna propose. I played the whole thing aloof. I gave no hint. I was just like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. You know, whatever Aaron wants to do, we'll see.
I remember I was crying at one point because I thought he wasn't going to, and I was like, it's just never gonna happen.
At one point, she started crying because she was so disappointed because she thought I wasn't gonna propose. So I knew at that moment that we had done a good job at hiding it from her.
At that time, he told me his friend Aaron was coming that takes photographs. I had no idea he was there to take pictures of us getting engaged. We just kind of did random, like we went to go pick him up at the airport, we went to go eat, and then at night he was just like, how about we go to the mountains? And then I was like, sure.
We had planned it so that afternoon, just before the sunset, we would go up the mountain, hike to this one place that I had already picked out, and I was gonna propose there, right at sunset. The problem was that a storm came in from nowhere. And it was thundering, lightning, storming, raining, and Aaron and I are looking at each other and we're just like, should we go? Should we not go? Is this happening? Should we just try to do it tomorrow morning during the sunrise? But we decided, hey, let's just go, and if anything, let's just hike around in the rain. It'll be cool.
I was not like dressed nice. I don't think I was wearing like leggings and and it was raining and windy, and we went to the mountains, the Sandia Mountains.
We finally get to the top. We decided to just kind of start hiking to the place.
We were there and it was like kind of stormy. There was a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and I was like, I just had no idea. And we were like with our rain jackets, we were freezing cold, and all of a sudden it cleared up, the rainbow came out, and it was just like perfect weather. It was funny because Aaron was taking pictures the whole day, and so I didn't think anything of it.
And finally, when we got to the place, Aaron told Maddie, just like we had planned, hey, look over out towards the city so that I can take a picture of you.
So Aaron's like, that's a nice picture, Maddie, keep looking that way. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, okay, turn around, that's a nice picture too. And I was like, turned around.
And so she turns around and totally misses me. Like, did not see me.
And then I turned around and then I looked down and there was Audie.
It took her a few moments to finally understand what's happening.
So then I said yes.
She said yes.
And I guess that's our engagement story.